Hi there, it's Tuesday the 18th of March, and today I just wanted to talk a bit about a couple of aspects of critical thinking. So critical thinking, that can mean lots of things. There's two things when watching YouTube videos which are purporting to show evidence for various conspiracy theories and things like that, and looking at comments underneath when people start arguing about stuff. There's two particular types of failures in logic that I see very, very frequently. And the first one of those is what they call confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is when, rather than you looking at the evidence you have and forming an opinion based on that evidence, it's when you start out with an opinion and you look for evidence to fit your opinion. And this really goes on an awful lot. Climate change denial, where there's a huge amount of evidence to say that climate change is happening and it's real, but you'll get someone, they'll go through a scientific paper and find some tiny part of it which seems to be contradictory in some way, and therefore on the basis of that will claim not only is that paper flawed, but so is the entirety of climate science. And to give a less controversial example, let's just take these plants down here. Now, not far down the road, there's a plant called few-flowered leek, which I made a wild food video about. And you could easily look at this plant and say, that's few-flowered leek, I can eat that. But this is actually a bluebell. And if you ate that, you'd be very ill. But the main difference you can tell between this and a few-flowered leek at the moment is this keel under the leaf. On the few-flowered leek, it's raised on top of the leaf. But if you are hungry, or if you are enthusiastic about wild food, and you might get carried away and just think, but I want to believe it's few-flowered leek, so I'm going to eat it anyway. And then your confirmation bias will have pretty nasty consequences for you. Well, here we are in the woods with the few-flowered leek, and I'll just show you some here, just so you can see what I meant. I don't know if you can see that, but this keel is on the top of the leaf there. So there you go. So confirmation bias. Essentially the lesson there is, don't believe something just because you want it to be true. Believe something because there's evidence that it's true. And another aspect of failures in logic that I wanted to talk about, which I see quite a lot of on YouTube comments in particular, is dualism. You see this an awful lot. I mean, a really stupid example I've seen quite a few times is the Nazis were very green. They had a lot of kind of environmental policies. Therefore, anyone who's green is somehow sympathetic to Nazis. And it sounds really stupid when you put it like that, but there's plenty of much more subtle examples which people totally buy into. And when it comes to the natural world and the natural environment, this notion of dualism is much more subtle, but it's actually not that hard to understand. Most of us as human beings see ourselves as somehow separate from nature, whereas we share so much of our DNA. I imagine there's a dock plant down here. Now, I imagine I probably share, and you probably share, at least 30% of your DNA with that dock plant. The point is we aren't that separate from this oak tree in front of me. We are all part of the same system, and this is what ecology is about. Ecology is the study of living things and how they interact with each other, and human beings are part of the ecology. And if you watch my last video on depleting soils, which I filmed right here, you'll be aware that we have an effect on the ecology, and quite a profound one. Yeah, this is a real problem when it comes to dealing with environmental issues. Sorry, I'm struggling to walk through the sand in this field. Yeah, this concept of our dualistic attitude towards nature, and we are completely separate from it, we're nothing to do with it. And this combined with confirmation bias of trying to believe what we want to believe and find evidence to fit what we want to believe, rather than believe what's staring us in the face. Yeah, so when it comes to the environment, we firstly think we're separate from nature. We think us and nature are two different things when they're not. And secondly, we don't really want to believe that things are quite as bad with the environment as they actually are. So we try to find reasons not to believe that's the case.